Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Peters. Senator Schmitt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you. Enjoyed our visit in the office. And as I told you, my grandfather was a infantryman in the Army during World War II and was very proud of his service. We're proud of his service, and thank you for your service. I guess a couple of questions, and I know I asked you this, more of a statement, but also, I guess, a response. I just think whatever we can do to depoliticize what's happening right now in the military, I think is paramount. I mean, I think it goes to recruiting challenges, it goes to public trust, and based on our conversation, it sounds like you are on the same page of keeping politics, no matter whose it is, out of the military and just be the best warfighting military in the history of the world. And you would agree with that statement, correct?
I would agree with that, Senator.
Okay. And then as it sort of rubber kind of meets the road here, as our pacing challenge, biggest threat, whatever you want to call communist China, they are that. And just curious to hear your, and you may have asked this, but this is the downside of being the last one on the dais here to ask questions. But your view of how the Army, in many ways the Army's done this before, but not as recently, and how you think under your command here, the Army evolves or does things differently to face that threat in the Indo-PACOM theater.
Okay, thanks for that question, Senator. I think, first is just to make sure, you were talking earlier about perceptions, that it's very much a joint theater out in the Pacific. I think the Army has a big role, as we know from history. We did back in World War II when there was actual fighting out there. So I think for deterrence and everything, we'll have a huge role as part of the joint team. I could go down several of the contested logistics came up. I think the Army will have a significant role in that. Integrated air and missile defense. The Army will lead the way and will be very important to the theater in that. Long-range fires, I think, are critical. Very hard, as you've seen. I think it's a big deterrence as well. It's very hard to dynamically target things that are on the ground and can hide in that clutter. And so I think our long-range fires, we already have 2 multi-domain task forces that are out there operating and exercising out there. So I think that will be critical. And then the Army really has your close combat force. You know, that's what I've grown up in those. And you're going to need those to secure things, and you're going to need them. We're always going to need offensive capability, and I think on the land as a land power, and I think we'll need that.
And you mentioned logistics too, and as you know, Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, we've trained a lot of great personnel that deal with logistics. As far as, this is the last question before I yield back, as far as needs go by way of weapon systems, generally speaking, what is it that you think as we turn our attention more intensely towards China and that theater, what is the greatest need there?
Well, I will tell you, I think what's been great in the Army is we've had a very good plan and stuck to it for the last several years. Long-range fires is a good example of that across that portfolio. Same with integrated air and missile defense. One of the areas that we're really focusing on now to kind of add that rolls into that is countering unmanned systems. So counter UAS, it's a different threat, and how we're focused on that. And so the Army is now the executive agent for that and investing more in that. And I think that's going to be another one of those that we're going to have to rapidly evolve in, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Schmitt. Senator Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, congratulations on your nomination.